Hello, Desert Winders. Saturday, 2:15. Just went down towards the end of the range and back, flying with Frank, Dustin, Christo, and John. Got a nice day, a little rough around the edges. Nothing too bad. I'm just speed barring my way back. Been pretty easy to get out of the lift around 43, 45 and stay out of the ceiling without having to spiral or do any descent techniques. Yeah, it's just good. 400 to at times some punchy 600 to 800, but nothing too rough. Really nice beginning of winter in central Arizona. We got John Wolf in town from Tucson. It's just been a nice day. I kind of lost everybody. John kept going over to fly with Christo, I think, and I wanted to come back towards launch. And Dustin went kind of further north on the north range. So I'm just kind of flying alone, looking for a thermal. I'm at 3,600. You can see 3 pilots above the antennas if you can focus in on that. It's 3 pilots above the antennas right now. Looks like Doug, Josiah, not sure who the other one is, maybe Roy. So I'm going to cruise back and hopefully fly with them. It's just been a nice day. Nothing really too rough, just, you know, you got to keep that wing pressurized on the edges and kind of broken up down low. So it's been nice staying high, but I am getting a little low here again at 3,400, hoping to hit one. And it's been a lot of stuff like that that you can't tell if it's an edge or if I'm coming into something. Kind of just feel that pressure and lean the way you think if it's trying to drift you into it. There we go. So give this a little look, lean and turn. Kind of see what I got for core here, what I got for lift. So yeah, it's a little weird. Probably waited a little long to turn there. So I'm gonna drift back to where I hit it. A lot of times if I feel the pressure is a little heavier, I'll switch my turn, but I really feel like this was it. I just didn't really turn tight enough and I let myself, oh yeah, let myself pop out. So this is about what we've been getting. We're maintaining 400 up, maybe 5. And again, I'm kind of not paying attention and letting myself drift out that upwind edge, which I'm kind of okay with at times. Helps me get a feel of the shape. There it is again. And it's a whole lot better than falling out the downwind side. So I'm at 3,500. So I want to take this thing up to another 1,000. See if I can manage to stay in it. Here comes Dustin Martin from the North Range. If you saw him. You'll see him here in a sec. Hopefully you can see the 3 pilots right there above the towers. Here comes Dustin Martin, yellow glider right there. Coming to join me because he sees I got a nice substantial thermal here. And again, I'm okay with when I'm pointing upwind like this. I see I got a 4 or 5 mile an hour from the south, so I'll just keep pushing upwind, looking for this core, feeling that pressure in my brakes and seat plate, kind of just making sure I'm not turning too close to that downwind edge of the thermal. So there it looks like I came out the upwind side again, and you'll see I kind of drift back into it here. And I'm okay doing that when it's not real rough. There we go, see that? I'm I'm back in it. And this is the end I don't want to fall out of, so I tend to commit to my turns more. So I'm at 3,900 feet. Kind of getting established in this puppy. A little broken up, nothing too much. You can see Dustin below us now playing around in it. Looks like he's heading over to our house thermal since he's got enough altitude over there, and the west side of that bowl, if you got the altitude, it tends to always work. It's 2:30, so we just got a good day, and we know the house thermals will be working. So I'm at 4,000 now. You can see it's just getting a whole lot easier to stay in. I'm really not even trying a whole lot here. Just kind of letting myself drift around to see if there's a core that I've been missing. And again, I don't mind drifting out that upwind side when they're so organized and I know I can just get back into it. Because a lot of times that's how you find out you weren't really in the core. A lot of times I feel like the cores are on the upwind side of the thermal. So I point upwind like this and I just kind of explore, you know, when I have the opportunity to, because it's a good day. So I'm at 4,100 feet. You can see these other pilots over here. You can see we got a little bit of west drift here. So switch up my turn, just explore. I got room, I got no pilots around. Explore, have fun. You might find a core that you didn't know was there. So can always drift back into it even without a thermal tracker when you know your basic wind direction. Look at that, it's always going to be right there when they're this organized, right? So always keeping that outside brake, guys. Give it some pressure on that outside brake, keeping your wing nice and flat if you can. And it's just this wonderful game of weight shift and brake pressure to always keep that wing in that sweet spot, nice and pressurized. You can see we got, well, it might have been Dustin. Looks like he cranked up, got above me there. And we got Doug right here. Student Doug that teaches me all the time. He's by Wingwell. He's got his paraglider out today. So, oh no, that's John Wolf up there. That's not Dustin. Ooh, nice little punch right there. Reminded me we're midday. You can see glider low trying to work back up there if you can. There's Doug. I'm right at 4,000 feet. And we got Frank down low in the middle of the valley there. If you see that green glider, we got John going on glide now. And we got Doug kind of chasing him. And it is just a good fun day, man. I'm right above the towers now, so I tend to not hang out here too long. And I'm gonna cruise down to the east side of the range. I feel a little weird not joining those guys, but I've been down there today and it's such a good day that I bet you the east side's working down here. And oh, that's Dustin down there. So we got Dustin down low, far east of the first house thermals, working his way back up in a nice little tight corkscrew there. You can see he's having to drift pretty far north with it down low. Not too far north. I'm gonna milk this one out a little bit. You can see two gliders in the middle of the valley there. Looks like Christo and Frank. So again, always weight shift, always weight shift. Always looking at my carabiners, making sure my weight shift is good and I'm not just squirming in my harness. Always have the weight of my arms plus a bit more. Okay, and I always have that outside brake. I don't want to be flying around trim in the desert. We just don't do it. My eyes are on the horizon. My head's almost on the outside of my risers. And you can see we got some nice dust signals out there. A couple light dust devils, giving us an idea of the texture of the air. And always keep that nice pressure, guys. I can't talk about it enough. A nice sweet spot. You feel that depressurization coming that way and you give it that little pump, little weight shift, and it's this wonderful world of keeping our glider nice and pressurized, right? Glider tries to fly you one way. We don't let it unless we want it to drift us where it's going into the lift or something. We fly the glider. We don't let the glider fly us unless we're intentionally trying to follow some lift. You can see Dustin's working back up front. I doubt you guys can see that, but he's somewhat low for me behind that range, just working that lift, man, and can almost guarantee you he'll be back up with me about the time I get there. So I'm just on speed bar here, guys, only about 20%. There's a little chop, so I'm just kind of steering with my rear risers, and more keeping pressurized and adjusting my speed bar. If the wing pitches back, I give a little more speed. If it pitches forward, I come off a little, and I'm just kind of keeping it a little bit pressurized, feeling it really with those rear risers. I'm just feeling it so that I have some feel on my glider aside from my harness seat plate. And as it smooths out, I just crank more speed bar, and I'm scanning for birds. I've only seen one today and it wasn't thermaling, so I'm just looking for birds. So Dustin quit messing with that thing and he's just heading towards that point. And so you can see he's just kind of heading to where we know those thermals are. Hopefully you can see him right there at that point. And it looks like he's hitting a little lift. Hopefully it's a thermal and not just some light ridge lift. And so it's a good look at the east range right there, guys. And here's looking south. And this is looking west right back towards launch. So you can see the cone. I can see it from here, and I can see my Vario telling me what the wind's doing. And so now 3,200 feet, right? I'm only 600, 700 above launch, so I need some lift. My ground speed slows, and I'm just even with launch, right? If you want to keep yourself in a safe spot, we're midday, so the sink could be stronger. And I'm just speed barring my way to these house thermals. Okay, I could have kept drifting east in hopes of getting one. There are a couple little landing zones down there. We can pack it up quick and get out of there. And you can see I'm getting a little bit drilled. You know, I got like 400 down here, 450 down. So I'm just pushing, keeping a nice line, kind of towards launch. Speed bar, getting through this sink. And as my glider pitches back, I give a little more. And if I start feeling like, oh, that might be lift, I just come off speed bar, transition back into my brakes. If it's big enough, I start feeling a little more brake and maybe exploring here. Now, I don't think that was big enough for me to go back to. So I got another little 40-50 feet there, so I let it drift me more towards launch instead of away from the hill. And there's where I thought it'd be. So I'm gonna turn in that, look lean, give me a little more pressure on my brakes, a little more on the left, start feeling this out. I got altitude here, so I'm going to let it drift me a little bit downwind, but not too much. But now I'm going to flatten out and kind of let it drift me. I got a nice little even amount of brakes on both sides, but I'm keeping my weight shift. Okay, so then once I think it might be ending downwind, I kind of just give that brake back. Oh, there we go. And I kind of want to keep exploring here. And I'm trying to get an idea of the shape of this thing while not dumping out the back. So I can see here we got a little more west wind because it's drifting me this way. A little more west than my Vario's telling me. And I can see the cone on launch now too, which I just like keeping an eye on. What it's doing over there might not be what it's doing here. Obviously in the desert we get light and variable, and so there's some kind of core. It's nice and punchy. I'm going to just kind of drift with it, and I'm going to switch up this turn because I had a lot of pressure on my right hand all of a sudden. So I just kind of switched up my direction. I looked, I cleared my turn, and that feels better. And it's definitely a little punchy. I'm having to give the brakes nice little smooth controlled stab inputs to keep it inflated. And I increased my weight shift, guys. I went heavier on the weight shift. Whenever it gets punchy and weird, I go heavier on the weight shift. And make sure my body position's good. Check my body posture, check my body posture. Lean back into the shoulders. That's how the harness was designed to load the glider correctly. So I make sure I'm leaned back. I make sure my eyes are on the horizon. And you know what else I do? I make sure my jaw is not tight. I relax my jaw and I breathe. It's a real good idea to chew gum if you would. Chewing gum helps, because if you find yourself chomping on that gum, you say, whoa, my jaw's tight. Let's chew on the gum. Blow some bubbles. Relax into it. Good body posture. There's our beautiful little core. I'm going to drift a little bit this way and see if it gets stronger. And it's just a weird day is that when you're down low, below 3,500, it's kind of drifty and weird, and it drifts a different direction at certain altitudes. So I'm keeping an eye on my drift and seeing how far it's blowing me behind launch. Keeping an eye on my altitude. I'm at 3,400 feet. And I'm just continuing to try and get the mental picture of this thermal. As I fall out of it, it helps me define it. Okay, but